Underlying reasons why you feel sick and tired all the time. I am Jason, nutritionist, hypnotherapist, holistic health practitioner. So, why do we feel sick a lot these days? Why do we feel tired a lot these days? You seem to be plugging along in life, everything's going fine, but you're feeling like crap and you don't know why. Seem to be doing everything right. Well, there's three reasons, and I'm going to just quickly mention them. But in today's video, I'm just going to go a little bit more depth into the first reason. And then in the following videos, I'll go into the other two reasons. So, number one, environmental toxins. So, that is the number one reason why we feel sick and tired all the time for no apparent reason. Well, that's one of the reasons is environmental toxins. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth as to what that is and what you can do about it. Reason number two, which I'm going to go in more depth in another video, but reason number two is the types of foods that we eat, and especially the genetically modified organism foods, the GMOs. And then number three is electromagnetic frequencies. So from computer, phone, and then the cell towers, 4G and now 5G coming out. So back to the first one right now, which is the environmental toxins. So what does that mean? That means anything that you breathe when you go outside or are inside. So what do? They spray, the chemtrails, aluminum, strontium, and other heavy metals that they're spraying into the air. And it's getting into the soil, of course, so it's getting into our water supply, it's getting into the food, and of course the air we breathe. So what it does is it overtakes the air we breathe because it is essentially heavier than the air. So we're breathing it in all of the time. And then, of course, little particles are going to seep into, like I said, the soil, food supply, our water. And so what can we do about these environmental toxins that we breathe in every day? And of course, that includes smoke and, exhaust from cars and smog and all of those other things. But why are we feeling worse than we ever did? Well, because the smoke, smog, that kind of thing that has always been in the environment for, obviously about 100 years now, is combining with the other environmental toxins, and they're kind of feeding off of each other. So we're breathing in everything at one time. So seems like there's no escape, right, from these environmental toxins. And unfortunately, there's not very much escape from it. I would always suggest, if you can, if you're able, get out of a big city. The bigger city you're in, the more environmental toxins are going to be. And, with the, population control agenda, it's they're hitting the bigger cities, obviously more so than the smaller cities because more people live in the bigger cities. So if you go into a rural area, they know, that it's much harder to live in a rural area. Most people don't know how to, grow their own food and get their own water supply, things like that. And, that's what they are counting on. They is in quotes. Most of us know, at least on the surface level, what that is. But so basically, what can you do about these environmental toxins? Well, anything and everything that you can do to cleanse the body and the brain is extremely crucial these days. So, anything that is a detoxing supplement, detoxing tea, which those things we don't want to do all the time. So what's something that we can do every single day that is, not necessarily just detoxing us of the bad stuff, but also leaves the good stuff, in our system. It's just not going in and detoxing everything, because a lot of detoxification products will detox everything, which is why we don't want to do it all the time, and then we become nutrient deficient. So what can we do that really binds to these environmental toxins, and it kind of depends on which toxin it is. But generally speaking, the one thing I know of that attaches to these environmental toxins as a whole more than anything and gets them out of the body is, ready, broccoli sprouts. That's right, broccoli sprouts. A lot of you I know have heard of broccoli sprouts. Now, if you can grow your own broccoli sprouts, obviously that is the best way to go, the cheapest way to go. You start with a seed, and it obviously needs to be organic, and at the very least non-GMO. And you grow the broccoli sprouts out of the seeds, and you just, eat a couple bunches of those a day. Now, why do broccoli sprouts work so well? Well, broccoli sprouts have a phytonutrient in it called sulforaphane. So sulforaphane is one of the nutrients in broccoli that really helps to detox the body, specifically of environmental toxins. And what are two major diseases that are directly linked to environmental toxins? Can anybody guess? Okay, most of you probably got cancer. That's definitely one of them. And the other one is going to shock a lot of people. Ready? Any guesses? Diabetes. That's right, diabetes. These environmental toxins will go in and they will clog not just your pancreas, which is what, of course, produces the insulin that you need to balance your blood sugar level, but it also clogs the liver and the kidney. So anybody with, we're going to talk mainly about type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, there's some similarities and some not, but we're going to talk mainly about type 2 diabetes, which is the type that you develop, in your teenage or adult years. So, and it's mainly, of course, adult years. There's some exceptions to that, but, and people develop, diabetes, generally speaking, anywhere between, 40 to 60 years old usually is when it happens. But in any event, these environmental toxins clog up your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys. So anybody that's got type 2 diabetes, all three of those organs are affected. Your pancreas, your liver, and your kidneys. They are all being affected. And of course, digestive system, but in just about any illness, your digestive system is being affected. But those are the three main, organs that are being affected. So people think diabetes, they think pancreas, right? And that's definitely true, but liver, kidneys as well. So we've got to have a way to get rid of these environmental toxins that are clogging up these organs. It is these organs, especially at first the pancreas, that gets clogged up, that creates diabetes, because the pancreas can no longer get the insulin to where it needs to go, right? And the body can't use it as fuel for energy because it can't get into the cells where it needs to go. So it just kind of floats around in the body. Call that insulin resistance, right? So insulin resistance is the first step to diabetes, and then comes diabetes after that. So there are only two reasons why people get diabetes. Number one is what we've been talking about, environmental toxins, clogging up the pancreas, liver, kidney. The other reason, of course, as we all know, is diet, what you eat, right? So, and we won't get into major detail about that, but obviously you stay away from the sugars and the starches, the simple carbs. What we want to eat is, protein, good fat, and some complex carbs. So fruits, vegetables, some whole grains, and they cannot be anything flour related. It has to be the whole grain. Now we can go into non-GMO whole grain, and those of you that need to avoid gluten, don't eat obviously wheat or barley or rye, which is the three gluten-containing grains. But basically, I'll do another video on, a little bit more specific about foods. But that's, obviously we know what to avoid. We know what to eat for proper blood sugar balance, right? That's been taught to us for quite a while. So And that, again, that's one of the reasons that people get insulin resistance and then turns into diabetes. And the other reason is environmental toxins, as I said. So in order to help ourselves get rid of diabetes, we've got to do two things. We've got to obviously alter our diet, and we know how to do that. A lot of people, just can't seem to do it, addicted to sweets and things like that, and starches and, bad oils and animal proteins, animal fats, and believe it or not, there is a transference of fats into sugar in the body that creates diabetes too, but that's a whole nother video. So in any event, the second thing, obviously, like I said, we need to do is get rid of the environmental toxins. And we do that through broccoli sprouts is the best way that I know how to do that. A lot of people, as long as you're, of course, careful what you eat, can completely find themselves ridding themselves of type 2 diabetes once they clear their body of environmental toxins. It's an amazing thing. And it's not talked about very much, but it's extremely, extremely effective. Imagine if you can rid your pancreas, your liver, and your kidneys of all of the environmental toxins that have been building up. Imagine how much better all of those organs will work. And that in of itself, as you could probably imagine, in a lot of cases, would help to heal yourself of your type 2 diabetes. So broccoli sprouts, let's get back to that. Now, if you don't know, how to grow or how much to eat or anything like that, which, like I said, is the inexpensive way, there's a lot of videos on how to grow broccoli sprouts, a lot of videos on those. That is not, an area of expertise on mine on how to grow things. So there's plenty of videos on that. Just type in, how to grow broccoli sprouts on YouTube, and it'll walk you through the process. And of course, as I said, make sure you get the organic seeds. But at the very least, they have to be non-GMO. But but preferably organic seeds, because even though broccoli crops are not sprayed with as many chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, as fruit in general is, because pesticides, the bugs love the sweetness of the fruit mainly. It still does get sprayed. So again, go organic on that. But if you're unable to do that, or you don't have anywhere to grow it, or you just are too lazy, you can definitely get a supplement of broccoli sprouts. Now, which one do you get? There's a lot of them out there. So if you look on Amazon and you type in broccoli sprouts as a supplement, you're going to see tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of options, right? And the first instinct is going to be like, oh, I'm just going to pick the cheap one. It's going to have what I need. Well, no, it does not have what you need. So what happens is, by the time they process it, almost all of the sulforaphane is completely gone out of the out of the product. So some of them will say, like, will yield a milligram of sulforaphane to the body, and there's a couple of precursors to that to be able to convert into sulforaphane in the body. So, you want something that either says that it's got the enzyme necessary to do that, or, or at least it'll tell you how much actual sulforaphane it'll yield into your body once it's converted. So you can go that route. And most of them come in, the ones that do say on the bottle, the cheaper ones anyway. And when I say cheap, I'm talking, $10, $15, $20 ones will say somewhere around, a half a milligram to 1 milligram of how much sulforaphane it yields. That is not even close to enough of what you need to do the job. So I've been searching long and hard for not only supplements that will end up yielding a higher amount sulforaphane to the body, but ones that are more reasonably priced, right? Because a lot of the companies, you're going to pay 60, 70, $80. I'm not kidding, for the broccoli sprouts supplements that yield enough sulforaphane for what you need. Now, what do you need? How much do you need to even make a slight bit of difference? And the answer to that question is somewhere around 10 milligrams, even to make the slightest difference. And that's just for maintenance. And if you've got a bunch of toxins built up in your system, you're going to need more than 10 milligrams of sulforaphane, at least at first. And then you can kind of drop down a little bit. The one that I really like, and I just talked to the company today, made sure that their product is tested for, pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, and it is in fact. And of course, they'll throw out any batch that doesn't meet the standards of, USP and also GMP, good manufacturing practices. So basically, what I found out was the brand Jarrow, which I know most of you probably have heard of. Jarrow makes a supplement called Max, and what they do is they get an extract from the broccoli sprouts. So it's not the whole broccoli sprouts, but they get an extract from it, and it's in a specific matrix that has all of the components needed for your body to convert the the product into actual sulforaphane in the body. And it will tell you that when they test it, they find that it yields per capsule about 8 milligrams of sulforaphane that you actually convert in the body and absorb. So, you would need at least 2 capsules a day to make any difference, I would say, whatsoever. And that's, again, I would do 2 capsules for maintenance once you detox your body. To detox your body really well and quickly, anywhere between 30 and 60 milligrams of sulforaphane is what you need. So most people go around the level, or most experts, recommend around the level of 40 milligrams of sulforaphane to literally, detox the body of all these environmental toxins very, very well and very quickly. And so, what I would do is I would start with, it says take 1 to 3 capsules a day. 3 capsules if you're doing a little bit of a ramp up. But what I would do, without breaking the bank and thinking you have to take a ton, I think that 4 capsules is probably enough to take of this particular product, Max, to really create a really, really good dent as far as detoxing all of the organs of these environmental toxins. So, if you multiply 8 times 4, that's 32. So it's going to yield altogether about 32 milligrams of sulforaphane. And that's, of course, a little bit more than that low end of what you really need to really detox the body, and of the 30 milligrams. So it'll give you 32. Now you can double that if you want. But if you have the money to do it, and you're extremely toxic, or if you have one of those serious illnesses that I mentioned before, then you're going to want to double that at least for a while. But be very careful. You're going to want to build up very, very slowly if you're extremely toxic, because you are going to get detox. Well, I shouldn't say you are. You probably will get detox symptoms if you go up too fast, and you're going to be miserable. Not that you're not miserable already with what you have, but you're going to be more miserable. So go up really slowly. If you have what you think is a moderate need to detox, then and you don't have like a serious disease yet, then I would say 4 capsules is enough. So, and what I would recommend is two capsules twice a day. Don't do all 4 at once, but 2 capsules twice a day of this product, Max, which I mentioned is going to yield you approximately 32 milligrams of sulforaphane. So, and like I said, it's, a lot of experts have spoken on, broccoli sprouts for cancer specifically. Um, and that's why it helps, because it detoxes um, of your organs. And broccoli sprouts have can have anywhere from 10 to 50 times the antioxidant power as full broccoli, full grown broccoli, or full sprouted broccoli. So the type of broccoli obviously that you eat all the time. Broccoli sprouts have anywhere usually between 10 and 50 times the power of most manufacturers claim around 20 to 30 times the potency, antioxidant potency of regular broccoli. So that's why it helps with cancer. And I also just mentioned why it helps with diabetes as well, because it clears the pancreas as well as the liver and the kidney of the environmental toxins that have been accumulated over time. So unfortunately, we're always, of course, going through environmental toxins these days, more so than ever. And you've got to be doing something to to keep your body rid of all those environmental toxins. Otherwise, your toxicity builds up, and that's when you don't feel well. And you're wondering, oh, why do I feel extra tired today? Or why do I feel sick today? I know I don't have like the cold or the flu or anything like that. So, and this is the reason, is environmental toxins. And environmental toxins can create symptoms intermittently. So because your body sometimes responds on its own better to toxins than other times. And so sometimes you'll be feeling better than you will other times. But if you're feeling sick and tired intermittently, you kind of have an underlying feeling of that all the time. But the more severe symptoms you have, or more intermittent, then that's a very, very good sign that that you have environmental toxin buildup in your body. So I would definitely take this. Again, you can take ones that are more expensive if you want, but Brocomax is probably the most reasonably priced I've seen. You can get 120 capsules, which you take, 4 a day, will last you 30 days for $30. So, and for this type of a product that's yields that much sulforaphane, it's a very, very good value, because the other ones you're going to be paying, like I said, 60, 70, $80 for. So that's what I would do. Usually you start to feel somewhat of a difference if you're on that 4 capsule level a day. Usually you start to feel somewhat of a difference after about 2 weeks. And then it just gets better and better from there. And then usually after a couple months, you've really, really, made enough of a dent in your, getting rid of those environmental toxins where it's going to feel like night and day to you. So like as if, as you felt, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, where you were just vibrant and not full of environmental toxins. So that's what I would do. And like I said, after a couple months, depending on, of course, what you're doing this for, but generally speaking, you do that 4 capsule a day thing for usually about 2 months, and then you can down it to 2 a day for maintenance, 1 capsule twice a day for maintenance of that product. So that's what I have for you today. But this is one of the single most important things you can do to help fight off any disease that comes from environmental toxins. And just about any disease has an environmental toxin component to it. So just by taking, broccoli sprouts, like I said, or growing them, however you do it, you'll have to kind of find the equivalent of, how much sulforaphane, and there's videos on that too, how much sulforaphane is in, an ounce of broccoli sprouts, or a gram of, 10 grams of broccoli sprouts. You'll find videos on that too, but, and so that's the cheaper way to go. But, but that's one of the single most important things to do to ward off a bunch of illnesses, because most of them do have some type of environmental toxin buildup component to them. So, so hopefully I helped. And yes, there's a million other things that help detox the body, but I think that this is This is probably one of the best and the most effective because of all the other things that it helps with in turn. And also it's not just cleansing the body. In other words, you don't have to worry about, you know, taking other supplements, you know, or medications for that matter, you know, away from it because it's going to wipe out the supplement or medication. That's not the case. Now, I will say the broccoli sprouts, if you take it on an empty stomach, it is a little bit better. It's going to absorb. It's going to absorb and get to where it needs on the cellular level a little bit better because it doesn't have the food to kind of block the access to the cells. So definitely, if you can take it on an empty stomach, it even says that on the bottle. I think it says take it either 30 minutes before meals or at least an hour after meals. So you definitely want to do that if possible. You're going to get quicker to a cellular level when you do that, because like I said, it doesn't, you know, you don't have the food kind of blocking it, trying to get to the cells. So so anyways, as always, if you have any questions, you know, go to my website, heal.info, and all my information is on there, email, phone number, all that stuff. So, you know, sorry I ranted a little bit on this video, a little bit more than I had planned to, and this is just talking about one of these factors. I'll try not to do that on the other videos, but in any event, always let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on the next video.